Welcome to the MLM.com podcast. I'm Nancy Tobler, your host. Today we are excited to bring to you Nicki Keohohou. She has been a distributor in the past, and she currently works with companies and with distributors, and she coaches them. It's a whole different philosophy, and you'll get to hear some of that in the podcast. She founded the DSWA, which is the Direct Selling World Alliance, to teach distributors and to support distributors in their businesses. We will be talking today about building strong communication between companies and distributors, talking about how to build trust with your distributors and how to help your distributors use communication tools, and in particular, how to support mature distributors using technology. We also asked her to reflect on the last 10 years and the COVID effect, the last 2 years. And she'll talk about the needs of customers and how expectations are changing there. And she also talks about millennials and the need companies have to reach out and to create trust with millennials. So let's get started. Nicki, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you, Nancy, and with everyone from MLM.com.
Thank you. You have been a strong supporter, and I think you've been on 2 other podcasts, maybe 3. I should have double checked the number, but you've been on several before, and they're always well liked and listened to. So thank you for joining us again. So my first question was to talk about how the industry has changed in the last 10 years and how that relates back to the importance of communication with your distributors or consultants.
There have been a lot of changes over the last 10 years, but particularly over the last 2 years with COVID and the things that have happened in that area. The last 10 years, I think people are realizing that, especially because of COVID, that they thought they'd have a job for 25 years and retire and get the fake gold watch. Well, lots of them in the last couple of years didn't get the fake gold watch. They got the boot.
Right.
And they're not able to continue in that format, particularly the people 55 and older, because they think, oh, you're washed up, you don't have enough time. And we're all living proof that that's not the case, but there's some still people that think that way.
Right.
But anyway, so in the last few years, we're bringing in more people than ever before into our business. We're on an upswing. And prior to that, what was going on was, I think a lot of companies were on their laurels, that we've done well for all these years. So these legacy companies just kept doing things the same way. And what they realized is we've got to make some adjustments. And those adjustments would include things to reach those millennials, to use technology, to have apps, to have SMS ability to text people. It's learning that today's person has a very full life. They all have full lives. So they're wanting to simplify things. They don't want it to be as hard as it was in the old days. So I think companies are making those adjustments. Those that are being very successful. Those that aren't are kind of disappearing, which is very sad. So right. I think that the industry has blossomed, is becoming what's happening today. We're innovative with new products, bringing in, things like, who would have thought eyelashes would be a full-on big company?
Yeah, that company up there in Idaho, Red Aspen went crazy. And COVID, they went crazy in COVID. Mm-hmm. I talked to those ladies and I said, what is going on with eyelashes and COVID? Uh-huh. And I guess we all needed to still feel pretty, or we all have to watch our own faces now. And so it's apparent.
I think it's a combination. They couldn't go to a lash studio, so they wanted to know how to do it themselves. They were trying to save money, so they were looking for ways to save money, and that doing it yourself is part of that. Look at the nail companies that have just gone gangbusters. People couldn't leave their homes, so they did that. So I know that COVID had a big factor, but prior to COVID, we still were being innovative with our products, and our nutritional companies are really working to stand out, not to be a Me Too product.
Right.
They want to have something unusual and unique and a story. And it's just like, example, Life Antique starting off, one product, Protandem. That's what they did. And they've expanded since then, but they had one very, very good product. And in the past, you had to have this whole array of products and have so many different choices I think that people have realized it doesn't need to be like that. You don't need so many SKUs to have a successful company.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you hit on something. I think that older people are working longer, and that's something that's sort of driven the business, right? Where on average, our distributors are just a little bit older than the general population. But I also think you really hit on companies need to address young people and how they communicate and how, right, like you say, how busy lives, people with busy lives, how they communicate. Yeah, I think that's perfect.
And the old way was kind of like we had control over our field. We thought that we were kind of like their boss. And especially the millennials do not want a boss.
Right.
They don't want a boss. They want to be their own boss. They're not going to fire themselves. They want to own their own destiny. So we have learned that instead of just training, telling, making sure they knew what to do, you do this first, this second, there's more of a coach approach that is happening to give people the ability to think for themselves. And so we've noticed over the last, because we've been teaching about coaching for 20 years, over the last 10 years, something that we have noticed is companies are embracing this more because it makes the people feel empowered and feel like they are making choices and decisions based on themselves. The other thing that I think we've really gotten in control of is our compliance. We had a lot of wild horses out there just saying whatever they wanted to say, and this will cure cancer and all those things. And I think companies are taking much greater control over compliance, that giving guidelines, letting people know, do compliance assessments, all kinds of things, so that the companies can be there for a long time. And when the field knows that, hey, if we follow the rules and we are compliant, our company won't get into trouble and we'll still be here. So educating them about that has been a new factor too.
Yeah, I think compliance, COVID also brought compliance back up, right out of the gate. We got slapped. Don't say that your product cures COVID. And I think it's almost easier now than it's ever been before, because we're all doing so much with social media. It's easier to find people who are not in compliance. So it's sort of a double-edged sword, technology is. So the next question I had is, how are companies doing? How would you rate companies overall in their communication with distributors? Are they doing above average, below average, or better than they used to be, less effective?
It's all over the board.
Okay.
For some reason, some companies feel like they know what to do. We don't need to tell them. They just need to go do it. And they'll say things like, just talk to more people. Just talk to more people. Well, they don't know what to say to engage more people.
Right.
So that strategy is not very effective. I think the companies that have embraced, texting, that have embraced a Zoom or a technology such as this, that have brought to the forefront an app where you can easily reach people and make them feel part of the community. Again, a part of this has to do with COVID. We were all scattered all over the country, all over the world, without a feeling of belonging.
Right.
So it was even more critical than ever before to communicate at a higher level. And working with your leaders first, communicating with those leaders so they have an insight as to what's happened and get their feedback versus saying, hey, we're changing the comp plan next week. Those days are gone if you want to keep people engaged in your company. So getting to those leaders, getting their feedback, asking questions of them to understand what is the best approach to address this with the field, I think is building a stronger sense of community. The big part of community is communication.
Right.
And without it, you really don't have a community.
Right.
So that's for every company to ask themselves, what can we do to improve our communication with the field? What can we do to make the field feel heard and valued? Two very important words.
Right.
And when companies figure that out, they have more longevity and they have happier members of their organization, which in turn aren't looking for other things and running from company to company to company, or building 10 companies at once.
or as you say, be in multiple companies at once, which I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing, but one of the things I've always thought, and I have attended your coach's school, and I loved it, and I'm going to oversimplify it. I know this is going to sound over simple, but the way I see what you teach is rather than communicate with. And that's sort of that one sentence that says, this is really what Nicki is trying to get me to learn. I need to listen, right? Which is with. I need to ask questions that are relevant and pertinent to both of us, not just out of the sky kinds of things. So anyway,
very true. And the thing about those questions, see, people taught about asking questions before. They were leading questions that led people where they wanted them to go, or where they would get a yes. And that's not true coaching. Coaching is meeting somebody where they are and taking them where they want to go, not where I think they can go, or where they have to go, where they choose to go, and how to do that. It empowers people. So those questions are open-ended, empowering questions. And you said a key factor there, listening. When people feel heard, they feel valued.
Right.
So the opposite of that is if they have a sense or a feeling that they're not being heard, their opinion doesn't matter, that they just get what comes to them, they don't feel valued. Right. And people will walk away from $1 million income when they don't feel valued.
Right. Yeah, it's always surprising me when a top distributor walks away, but I've seen it happen. It doesn't happen all the time, I don't think, but I have seen it happen, and I think you're right. I think not feeling heard and feeling like things are one-sided. So yeah.
Yes.
One thing on communication with your field, how do you, one of the things I was sort of thinking about was technology and more mature distributors. Have you got suggestions there that companies need to do or think about?
Yes. The millennials seem to pick up technology very well. And I am going to add this. Many millennials are very good with technology. They are not as good with emotional intelligence. And that's an area, both Grace and I got certified at the high level in emotional intelligence during COVID, because we know that is a challenge that's coming up right now. People don't know how to speak and communicate. They can text all day. So all the millennials are very good with technology. It was scary to a lot of people, 50, 55 and older, when Zoom came up and said, oh, what do I do? Where is my camera? What is a microphone? How does that work? And they were very scared and afraid of using the new technology, or holding a party on Zoom or something of that nature to engage people. So we didn't necessarily teach the use of the technology at companies, which could have been a 101. We didn't necessarily teach how to engage people using technology.
Right.
Because it's different. It's not just talking at people. It's drawing from people to have them really be engaged in the process. So we missed the boat in some companies on that. We also missed the boat on the companies that said, hey, this is going to pass. It's going to go away. Let's just keep doing what we've been doing for 40 years. It's worked. Let's stay with it. And they really went through a scary period. The ones that embraced technology early on and taught the people how to use it, taught them the importance of it, and that they didn't have to be perfect. They just needed to know some skills to work on it and to improve.
Yeah, I think the one thing I see sometimes is that people can be good in person and great at connection, and it's almost electric to talk to them in person. But when they got onto Zoom, they went back to, I'm talking at you and you listen, and I'm not going to hear from you. So that was sort of an effect I saw that I think people got better at, but early on.
It was a challenge. And one of our best-selling classes was how to engage people using technology.
Right.
Because they didn't know how to. They didn't know how to ask questions. They didn't know how to pause. They didn't know how to do a breakout room, how to use the chat, those kinds of additional tools that come with it, so that people feel like they're in a room with you. There's a feeling that you can come across with technology has a lot to do with your voice, your pitch, your speed, and the quality of the questions that you ask to engage people, as you're doing.
Yeah. So let's shift from communication to the distributor to customers. And I just want to put a plug in for your expertise here. You started out as a distributor. You've worked with companies on the company side, but you've worked with lots and lots. And well, most, I think, of your people are distributors that join your DSWA. So you really have a handle on that distributor side and I think the customer side. So tell us, how have customer needs or people changed in the last 10 years as well?
I think customers are more savvy. They have more choices. They all know how to go on and get onto Amazon. So they can go buy products anywhere. What they are looking for is someone that, one, cares about them, that they feel they're connected to versus just a company or a website, that understands them, that it cares about their needs. The customer wants to know, you know me, versus I'm just another number. Yeah. So the companies that did those things, like set up a preferred customer program or had their brochures go out to people. Some of the older companies still do the paper brochures or mail out things. And some of the newer companies only do online because people have kind of figured that out. But they keep them abreast of new products. They do new product launches for the customers. So they let the customer know, we've got a great new eye product. And let's show you a demonstration of what that looks like and how to utilize it. So they, again, communicate more effectively with the customer. The one thing I'm going to say about that, the distributor must know, because this is happening right now, the distributor must know that the company's connection with the customer is not to acquire those names so that they can go direct to the customer. They've got to talk about that so that the field person isn't thinking, hey, they're just trying to go after my people and they're going to take them from me. Right. And a lot of companies are moving from having a multi-level or a party plan company to a straight out affiliate program. Right. It's happening a lot right now. Right. And so they're thinking, if they don't trust you,
is it Party Light that just changed? Party Light just went to straight affiliate? I'm trying to remember what company just did it.
There's a whole, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that are doing it right now. And the fear from the field is, I'm going to lose my commissions. I'm going to lose what it is that I've worked so hard for all my life.
Right.
So the company has got to have great trust with their field for them to know that's not what our intention is. We know this business wouldn't be what it is without you. So I feel the customer communication is important, and yet communicating with your field to let them know this is in support of you and what you're wanting to do with your business.
Right. How can we help you? Right. It's I think that's vital. Here's some ideas, right? Here are some strategies we've seen work. And our job is to be here to support you and you to support your customers, right? Yeah, I one thing you said early on was that they need to build a relationship. And I've been looking a lot at that in the academic research to see what's been done and how trust is built, right, in online and social media. And it's just fascinating that we really need people. Social media just makes it all the more apparent. We need people, and we need people who validate us. And that's something that direct selling has done well in the past too, right? That, you chose a diet shake or whatever, and your team supports you as you go into this weight loss mode, and they validate how you look and how you feel and all of that. That's a plus, I think, for our industry. If I buy the shake at Walmart, nobody follows me home from Walmart to see how I did on my new shake. No one.
And they don't care. No.
Yeah.
That's part of that, what you just said there was through social media, the company relating to the customer is important. The field person having questions and comments and thoughts and pictures for their customers
Right.
on their customer, Facebook page or LinkedIn or whatever it may be, participating in podcasts and blogs and other things so that people know you're very active in this community. If you're selling beauty products, you are part of different groups that are about beauty products. So you keep on learning. It's our job as a distributor to communicate effectively with our customers and let them know about new things, new tips, new ideas, new successes, all of that. If we're not communicating, just because that person's been a customer for 10 years doesn't mean they won't go someplace else.
Right.
And I think sometimes we think, well, they've been with me forever. I don't need to communicate with them. They already know everything. They're good. No, let people know you value them, whether that be sending a birthday note, whether that be, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is something to let somebody know they're there.
Yeah.
And you can do that using technology.
Yeah, I was thinking about one story I heard, and I suspect it happened millions of times, but this woman posted somewhere, and I wish I had kept it, and she said, the only person that talked to me in 3 months was my Mary Kay distributor. And I thought,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's powerful, right? I had a personal relationship, and she didn't reach out to sell me a product. She reached out to see if I was okay. And I thought that is power, right? That's what a distributor can do, right? It makes you feel good,
yes.
Right?
That is so exciting to me because we have pounded on that this whole time. We have said, call because you care.
Right.
Just go down the list of everybody and let them know, how are you doing through COVID? It's not to sell the product. It's to make that connection. Let people know that you care. The product will follow. Sales follow when you do the right things, when you're good to people up front, when you build relationships. They want to do business with you. You don't need to force them into a sale or call, well, I haven't met my quota this month and I really need just another $50. What do you want to buy today? Yeah. That's not the answer.
Yeah.
It's about the relationship.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because we worked with a lot of those people in that company and thought exactly that. Somebody did it. It's exciting to me.
Yeah, it is exciting. I was thinking of one other thing you said the last time you and I talked, and it had to do with varying the way you contact people, right? Realize that people are different, right? Not everybody wants an email. Yes. Not everybody wants social media. So maybe give us your tip there on what tools should we use?
So that's one of the first things that you ask a new person on your team is, what is the most effective way for me to communicate with you? Or what is the most effective way for us to connect with each other? Because somebody doesn't read their email but once a week.
Right.
But they answer their text immediately.
Right.
Someone else is a different approach. So, and with your customers, how would you like to receive information from me?
Right.
If you ask that and note it, you're going to do it for that person. Now you're thinking, oh God, now I got to do 3 or 4 different ways. Well, what's it worth to you?
Yeah, exactly.
To keep that customer, to make that sale, or be convenient for you? It's not about being convenient for us. It's about being convenient for that customer or that team member. So find out their best method of communication. And the hint will be, if you send them 100 emails and they've never responded, that's probably not the most effective way for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have found that a personal call to somebody makes a huge difference. They're very honored.
Yeah.
So just going back and updating your database with contact information. If you have a bad email and you've never edited that, well, if you give somebody a call, you might find out.
Yeah, exactly.
So just go with their best method of communication.
Yeah. Yeah, great. And as you say, I think you said this last time, you have introverts and you have extroverts that will purchase from you. And if you treat them all like extroverts, which distributors tend to be more extrovert, if you treat them all like they're like you, you may miss out on a significant portion of what could be your relationship with this person. So again, ask them, how do you want to be communicated with? What kinds of information can I give to you? What don't you ever want to see, right? And it does take a few more minutes, but I think tools are catching up with us. I think
I
tools are getting
agree.
a little bit better at saying, I want to send an email to these people. I want to send a text to these people. And I think it's getting
It's
a
so
little bit better.
interesting. Nancy, we have an offering that's special for people with Zoom. As a member of DSWA, we have a very good price point. With that Zoom comes an emotional intelligence software where if it's you and I that are on this conversation, I can get an email afterwards that says, these are Nancy's hot buttons. These are words that Nancy
Wow.
perks up on. These are words that turn Nancy off. So in other words, it really pretty much tells me how to sell to you, which is
Wow.
really very exciting.
I had
People
no
don't even know
idea
what's
you
out
had
there.
that.
There's,
I'm going to go out right now and try it because I
uh-huh,
love that.
yeah,
In fact, I was just talking to somebody yesterday about another tool that can tell your biases. I think it comes out of
uh-huh,
Stanford, and you press positive or negative based on words you see, old or young, based on words
yes,
you see, and it tells you what your prejudices are. And it's always surprising,
wow,
right? How much comes out of us in ways we don't
uh-huh,
realize. And I think emotional intelligence, if this can tell us about me, that's fascinating, right? That's just more
mm-hmm.
information that can be used
Oh,
to,
yes,
yeah, to know Nancy better, right? I'm good at taking notes and listening at the same time. It's a skill I've taught myself from teaching for a long time, but not
mm-hmm.
everybody can do it, right? Not everybody can make
No,
those nuanced notes while they're also
no.
having a conversation.
And that's
Well,
also,
yeah,
Nancy, why understanding behavioral styles is so critical. That's why we teach in coach school and do just classes on understanding people,
yeah.
because you may not be exactly like me, and it's up to us to adjust. So I'm just going to give you a quick story about a company that I went to visit. And when I walked into the building, I already knew that company had to have a million S's. Steady people. Steady people are reserved and people oriented. So they're very kind, gentle, loving people. But I already knew by several clues. I'd looked at their website in advance. I looked at the decor inside their building. I looked at the products that they were selling. And as I was talking with this company, and the company is no longer here, so I feel it's okay to share this. But what happened was I said, how are you attracting business women to your business? Because there was not a picture of a person that looked like a business person. They all looked like they were Zen, very, very nature type people. Everything attracted S's to their company. And the hint was the name was Quiet Places. Now
Mm,
think about an outgoing, outspoken, fun, wild woman wanting to be in quiet places. So it started with the name of the company and this nice green. Everything was speaking to the. She said, she said, we can't get any business people.
yeah,
And I said, would you like some feedback around that? Would you be open to hearing some
right,
feedback?
right.
And she said, yes. So where on there do you show a businesswoman or just a fun, crazy person or a non-family person
Right,
or a senior or
right.
someone 18, your website? The website was all 30 to about 45. And
Yeah,
that's who their company attracted.
yeah,
So I feel like we've got to educate people and companies about how to attract and retain all different kinds of people
right,
and to speak the language of those people. So everything, when a company is writing up materials, they've got to speak to the D, the very direct, decisive person. Some things in there are to the point. Got to get some facts in there with that C, that cautious person, the reserved, task-oriented person. We got to get some facts in there. That I, you've got to have fun, and they got to see that there's some fun around this company, and there's good positive energy, and that you get to be with people, and you get to do exciting things. And then the S is that we are a family. This is about harmony and peace. This is because most distributors are S's in our business, but you've got to attract some of the other people to have people feel that they belong. The
right,
other thing that I think that we're missing on right now is the whole thing around diversity. I
right,
know people are trying, but I had a company ask me to review their material. There was not one picture of a person that wasn't Caucasian.
right.
It
Exactly.
wasn't white. We've got to show Asians. We've got to show African American, Hispanic, and in our PowerPoints, the things that we do, show diversity means everyone can belong here.
Right.
You matter here.
Right.
And I think we've missed the boat on that for a number of years. And right now we're trying. I can tell people are trying.
I hear it.
And
I hear
aware.
it. I hear it out there from companies, but we don't see it in the numbers yet. We're not seeing it in the numbers yet. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, wow, that last information there was just incredibly powerful. So thanks for sharing that. Let's end today. I don't want to take too much of your time, and tell us some exciting things that are happening now. I know you've got a couple of new things at DSWA. Tell us what's going on.
Thank you, Nancy. The Direct Sign World Alliance is it has grown over the last 20 years in what we offer, how we offer it. We've gone through all the adjustments and had a lot of learning experiences. And now we're kind of hitting it with what exactly we can offer and give to people. So one of those things that we have discovered is that the people that are out there are looking for a place that is safe, that is generic enough that it will fit with whatever company that they're with. And it's a safe place because there's no cross recruitment. They have a code of honor. I mean, it's all that type of thing. But we pivoted during COVID from everything being live events and being at conventions and doing all that to have everything being, virtual.
Right.
And so all of our coach schools have gone to virtual. We can do them in private groups, public groups, small groups, corporate groups. So that is a big step. We also just personally things that we finished our women-owned, minority-owned business. So we can get things that are around government contracts. We have worked on our Coach Excellence School for educators because educators really need what we teach in coaching. Absolutely. To engage those students. We have worked for 2 years really hard on our insurance program, and we've got to launch this next week, the 5th of August, 8 p.m. Central, that we're going to be sharing some of those new products. What we found, there was a lot of people during COVID that had some emotional issues. There were people that were depressed and people that were, anxious and anxiety and all that stuff. So we have a new product mix that's called the Tele Friend Collection. So we hope everybody will tell their friends about it. With that, we have Tele-Doc, so somebody can, get on to with the doctor. Tele-Vet, so if they have a pet. Tele-Alert, so if they lose their mother that's got Alzheimer's or their college student or their child, that they can be found very quickly through that process. Tele-Behavior. And the whole package is $49.50 a month, which is pretty amazing, particularly because the Tele-Behavior program includes 13 and up children, so for your teenagers, where they can be unlimited use with a psychologist, a therapist, or a counselor. And after 3 visits, they can pick which one they want to have their full time.
Right.
And they could go every day if they wanted to. That we brought to our profession, not because we have a lot of people that are not dealing with things. We brought it because everybody knows somebody that has had a tough time.
Yep.
And many people are out of insurance right now. Their partner lost their job, and so they're either underinsured or have no insurance. And we have both full-on insurance, major medical, as well as non-insurance, such as this Tele-Doc program is a non-insurance product that we are bringing to the public so that they can stay in direct selling and really make a go of it.
Yeah.
So we continue to bring, and our app has every week a new video, every week a new article, every week a new social media post that comes directly to them through a push notification. That went out to full blown. So we have a lot of new tools that are bringing things to people that they don't even have to go look. It just comes to them.
Yeah.
And I feel that's been a big help. So it's been an interesting few years and fun. And we've maintained our members because for $8.95 a month, those distributors get great value.
Oh, yeah.
And
yes.
I feel good about what we've done with that. And I feel good that we have we have pivoted and are keeping up with, like, one call that we did that was a free call. Every month we do a free call. And that call was, what do you do when you get ghosted?
Yeah.
I mean, because everybody has dealt with that.
Everybody, myself included.
Yes. Yeah. There's a ton of different things because we hear it from people because we're coaching people in our classes. So we know what's going on out there and we continue to add and bring value. And I love what we get to do. So thank you, Nancy.
Yeah,
and thank you for being a part of what DSWA does. I don't know if everybody knows, but Nancy is on our board, has a lot to contribute.
Thank you.
We are very honored to have you participating with some other great people.
Yeah, I've watched you since the very beginning, right when you launched. I've watched you this whole time, and it's just been wonderful, our connection, and I appreciate it a ton. So thank you. Our time's about up, so I appreciate you. I appreciate that you take your time, and I appreciate your expertise, right? Your understanding from the distributor side is just very poignant, right? You just really get that side of this equation, but you also are so good with corporate. So thank you for your expertise, and we'll talk to you again soon. I hope.
I appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks.
Aloha.
Bye. We want to thank Nicki for her expertise and taking the time out of her busy schedule. And reach out to Nicki if you are interested in her services. She is just excellent to work with. And I want to also thank Jana Bangater, Joshua Birch. Every time they make me look good and sound good, and I appreciate so much their work and their expertise. So this has been the MLM.com podcast, bringing you information and insight. We hope that you'll join us next time on the MLM.com podcast.